complaints about councils and other organisations within its jurisdiction. Following the Ombudsman's investigation into the complaint of Mrs X, a North Tyneside resident, it published its report on 12th of February. The Ombudsman found that the council had delayed for 13 months arranging alternative educational provision for Mrs X's child, and the child was unable to attend school. This was the second time that the LGSCO had found the council at fault for failing to provide alternative education provision. This caused Mrs X's child to miss out on suitable education and caused Mrs X distress, frustration and uncertainty. The Ombudsman found fault causing injustice. The provision has since been in place for the child X since March 2025. The Ombudsman's report makes 3 recommendations and Council has accepted them in full. First, the Council must apologise to Mrs X to recognise the distress, frustration and uncertainty caused by its delay in arranging alternative educational provision for her child and for the 3 terms of education the child missed from February 2024 until March 2025. Second, the Council must increase the financial remedy offered and pay a total of £5,900 to recognise the missed educational provision between February 2024 and July 2024 and October 24 to March 25. This includes the £4,000 the Council had already offered. And finally, within 3 months of the Ombudsman's report, the Council must review its processes to ensure it maintains oversight where it relies on schools to arrange its alternative provision and takes timely action when a school does not arrange the provision or the provision plan cannot be put in place. I want to stress that the Council unreservedly apologises to Mrs X and her child for the distress, frustration and uncertainty caused by the delay in arranging alternative educational provision. This has not been good enough and we are sorry. We have learned from this and the report to Cabinet sets out that learning and action to be taken by the Council. The Council has completed a full review of its arrangements to ensure that practice is fully aligned with legislation and statutory guidance and reflects the lived experiences of young people in North Tyneside. The Council has strengthened its own strategic planning, its oversight and accountability, the provision it commissions and the processes it follows. The Council has also continued to work with schools to strengthen inclusion and prevent, wherever possible, children and young people requiring alternative education provision in line with Section 19 of the Education Act 1996. As there has been a finding by the Ombudsman that Mrs X and her child suffered injustice as a consequence of maladministration, then under Section 5A of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989, the authority's monitoring officer has a duty to prepare a report for Cabinet on the injustice caused by the authority. This is the report that Cabinet is considering this evening. Furthermore, in accordance with the provisions of Section 5 of the 1989 Act, the monitoring officer is obliged by law to send his report to all members of the authority. Appended to the monitoring officer's report is the report of the Ombudsman in relation to this matter. Cabinet is obliged to consider the monitoring officer report and to set out what action Cabinet proposes to take in response to it, having of course regard to the findings of the Ombudsman. Cabinet is required to determine its response to the monitoring officer's report at this meeting. In that regard, Cabinet are specifically referred to recommendation 3. It is recommended that Cabinet agrees the following actions be implemented. A, the Director of Children's Services will ensure that the actions detailed in paragraphs 1.5.2 A to E of this report are fully implemented. B, those actions be implemented without delay. And C, the Director of Children's Services will present a report within 3 months to the Chief Executive in consultation with the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and the Cabinet Member for Education, Inclusion and Employment to confirm that all actions in paragraphs 1.52 A to E have been fully implemented. After tonight's Cabinet meeting, a copy of the minutes of Cabinet will be sent to each member of the authority, which will set out the actions agreed by Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Early. Does anyone have any comments or questions in relation to this report? No? Can I just add my sincere apologies to Mrs X and to the child involved in this matter? I would like to say there has been lots of learning and due diligence and processes have been put in place to avoid a situation like this arising again in the future. I can only extend our sincere apologies for any distress caused. Thank you. Are Cabinet happy to agree the recommendations outlined in 1.2 of this report? Agreed. Thank you. Agenda item 4 is the report of the young mayor. Can I invite Diamond to present the report?
Thank you. Hello everyone, and thank you for inviting me today to share our young people's update. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to the planning team for coming to the Youth Council back in November to talk to us about the local plan. Because of that visit, more sessions have been now arranged in schools across North Tyneside, hopefully with support from Youth Council members and the Children's Participation Team. This means more young people in our community have been able to share their opinions about the area, which is really important, especially since this is looking to provide spaces for housing when some will be moving into independence. Since the last update, members of the Youth Council and Children's Care in Council also helped with interviews for the new Director of Children's Services. They were part of a young person's panel and gave honest and very professional feedback to candidates and council staff involved. We are looking forward to the new director starting and sharing our priorities. Our Young Advisors group also went to Middle Engine Lane Police Station to meet senior leaders from across the Northeast. They talked about the work they've already done and shared ideas for their projects, especially around AI and online safety. They got positive feedback from the adults there, which was great to hear, and we look forward to seeing what will happen to help keep children and young people safe. At the January Youth Council meeting, the engagement team ran a budget workshop because the financial year is nearly ending. Around 20 young people came along, and we learned how young people help shape our North Tyneside Plan 2025 to 2029. Through things like this, the Big Community Conversation Survey, the Young Council Lifeline Map, and the State of Area event, we also learned how this links the council budget, including where money comes from, like council tax, business rates, and government funding, as well as the challenges the council faces with rising costs and less money available. Our SEND Youth Forum has been busy too. They review SEND activities for the holiday activity and food program, and their feedback will help improve future sessions. They've also chosen new photos for the local offer poster, which will be shared online and in centres across the borough. In March, they're helping plan Neurodiversity Celebration Week and thinking about creative ways to get young people involved. In December, Children in Care Council members came across our Christmas catch-up, where we shared highlights from the year with the Corporate Parent Forum and the senior leaders. And over the past year, CICC members have also helped develop the Next Steps Fund, supported by Children's Services and Counsellor Early. This fund helps young people aged 14 and above who are care experienced apply for funding to do activities that support their well-being, friendships, or independence. Young people have used it for things like trips to London, theatre visits, immersive experiences, meals out, and creative activities. Members of the Children in Care Council, SEND Youth Forum, Youth Advisors, and Youth Council also took part in a webinar run by the National Children's Bureau around youth citizenship. This group discussed the importance of having their voices heard, as well as learning more about Britain's democratic processes. I'd also personally like to add my appreciation to the council and all in attendance as well as not in attendance. This will likely be my last cabinet meeting as the young mayor, and I felt necessary to make it apparent that I do not take my role for granted. It means the world to me to be here sitting amongst all of you who are behind the scenes of making North Tyneside the best possible place. Thank you for listening and continue to support young people across North Tyneside.
Thank you for that, Diamond. Amazing, incredible breadth of work you've been involved in there. So that's really excellent. Does anyone have any comments or questions on this item? Councillor Early?
If this is your last cabinet meeting, just to thank you for all the work you've done over the last 12 months or so. I think you can see from your report, as the mayor said, the breadth of work that you undertake, and things like getting involved in the selection of the new Director of Children's Services. The feedback that we had as the senior interview panel from the members of the Youth Council was really useful and informative. The work you've done engaging in the development of the new North Tyneside plan, equally important. And I know everything that goes into the budget, so I don't envy you having to work and prepare representations in respect to the budget. But for me personally, I'm particularly pleased with the progress of the Next Steps programme for the Children and Care Council care leavers. I think it's an important opportunity for them to get involved in developing life skills around considering grants, authorising grants, and then for the young people themselves to access the opportunities to go to things like, I think we had 2 young people who had never been outside of the Northeast who went on a trip by train to visit the, I'm going to say, Victoria and Albert Museum, but certainly a large museum in London, and they were totally blown away by what they saw there. So that's the kind of opportunity I hoped young people would get involved in. So I'm really pleased that that's progressing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Early. Anyone else? Any comments? I would just like to say a huge thank you to you, Diamond, for if this is your last meeting indeed. You've had a very busy year, I know that. Thank you for all that you've done for North Tyneside and working with young people and making sure their voices are incorporated into our plans and policies. It's really important. So huge thank you. Thanks to other members of the Youth Council, to the Children and Care Council, to the SEND Youth Forum, and to other young people in North Tyneside who's taken an active role in this work also. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5, which is the appointment of Director of Resources. Can I invite Councillor McMullen to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. This report requests Cabinet's approval to start the recruitment process to the position of Director of Resources. The current Director of Resources, John Ritchie, has announced he will be leaving the role with effect from the 30th of April 2026. With the current post holder's resignation date now official, we need to secure a permanent appointment. The job description and personal specification for this role are attached to this report. Following the Officer Employment Rules of Procedure in the Authority's Constitution, once Cabinet approves the recruitment and job details, the process will be handed over to the Appointments and Disciplinary Committee for formal recruitment and appointment. I recommend that Cabinet agree the recommendations as set out in paragraph 1.2 of the report.
Thank you, Councillor McMullen. Do I have any questions or comments about this item? No, are members happy to agree the recommendations outlined at 1.2? Agreed. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 6, North Tyneside Tenancy Strategy 26 to 29. Can I invite Councillor Harrison to present?
Thank you, Mayor. The authority is required under section 150 of the Localism Act 2011 to prepare and publish a tenancy strategy. This sets out the expectations that registered housing providers of social housing must be aware of when forming their own tenancy policies. In addition, it also requires that the tenancy strategy must be kept under review. The purpose of this report is to seek approval from the Cabinet to approve the draft North Tyneside tenancy strategy from 2026 to 2029. This strategy will replace our current tenancy strategy, which ends in 2025, and incorporates all relevant legislative and policy changes required as set out in section 1.4 of the report. Details of the expectation for registered housing providers is contained in section 1.51. The revised draft strategy has been subject to a consultation exercise carried out between December 25 to January 26 that has involved our registered housing providers. Details of the registered housing providers can be found in Appendix 2 and can I say there was no feedback was received. This is an important strategy that sets out clear guidance for registered providers, formerly known as housing associations, whose own stock in the borough regarding considerations required when formulating their own tenancy policies or future policy reviews and or revisions. I'm therefore asking Cabinet to approve option 1 as recommended in section 1.6 of the report and formally approve the North Tyneside Tenancy Strategy 26-29. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Do I have any comments or questions in relation to this report? No. Are members happy to agree the recommendations outlined in the report? Great, thank you. Move on to agenda item 7, which is school admission arrangements for 2027. Can I invite Councillor Peter Early to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Cabinet approval to determine the proposed admission arrangements for the 2027-28 academic year in relation to community schools. This is an annual report submitted to Cabinet. There is a statutory requirement to consult on and determine school admission arrangements before publishing. The local authority is required to consult on the admission arrangements for those schools for which it is the admissions authority by 4th of January 2026. If there are any changes to the previously agreed arrangements. There were no changes proposed to the admission arrangements, which includes the oversubscription criteria for allocating places at oversubscribed schools. It is acknowledged that admissions to schools are always an important and potentially stressful time for families. All admission authorities are required to determine their arrangements for the new academic year by 28th February 2026. Cabinet are therefore requested to approve the recommendations as set out in section 1.2 of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Early. Any comments or questions in relation to this report? No? This is a fast meeting, very well behaved. Okay, can we agree the recommendations set out in 1.2 of the report? Great, thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 8. Safer North Tyneside Community Safety Partnership Strategy. Can I invite Councillor Sandra Graham to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to advise Cabinet of the final proposals for the review of the Safer North Tyneside strategy. The authority is required to produce a strategy to set out the priorities of the Safer North Tyneside partnership in the coming 4-year period. Approval of this strategy is a shared responsibility between Cabinet and Council, with the current strategy having been in place since 2019. Safer North Tyneside is our statutory community safety partnership. It operates on the principle that no single agency can address every driver of crime or antisocial behaviour. Effective partnership working is essential if we are to build and maintain the safer communities our communities want and need. The partnership is legally required to have a community safety strategy in place. This strategy provides the overarching framework for reducing crime and disorder and sets out a shared vision based around a set of key priorities. These priorities guide the operational groups reporting into the partnership, including the Antisocial Behaviour Group and the Domestic Abuse Partnership. The draft strategy has been developed by the 5 responsible authorities of the Safer North Tyneside Partnership. It is built around the priorities of the elected Mayor and the Police and Crime Commissioner, as well as taking into account from the most recent Strategic Needs Assessment. 4 new priorities have been identified. These are tackling neighbourhood crime and antisocial behaviour, tackling domestic abuse and violence against women and girls, reducing serious violence and organised crime, and promoting community cohesion and resilience. The draft strategy underwent a 6-week consultation involving residents, local businesses, councillors and MPs. A total of 46 responses were received, with all respondents supportive of the 4 priorities. The feedback and additional information that was provided has helped to shape this final draft. If this proposal is agreed by Cabinet, it will be referred to Council in March for consideration and approval. I recommend the Cabinet approves option 1 contained within section 1.6 of this report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Do we have any comments or questions in relation to this item? Yes, Councillor Early.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a really important strategy document, and I note in particular that from the online consultation that the percentages of people who agreed with the priorities is really high, so that shows that the strategy really is addressing the issues that matter in respect of crime, disorder, etc. So I'm very pleased to support the report.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Are we happy to agree the recommendations? Great, thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 9, the 6 monthly complaints report from April 25 to September 25. Can I invite Councillor Harrison to present? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm pleased to share the 6 monthly compliments and complaints report, which demonstrates now how the Council listens to, responds to, and learns from the experiences of our residents. Despite the thousands of services and transactions delivered by the Council each year, the volume of complaints we receive continues to be very low. Saying that, between April and September last year, the authority responded to 415 complaints, which was an increase of 5% compared to the same period the year before. During this period, 72% of the complaints were resolved at the earliest possible stage, representing a 7% improvement from the year previous. Quality assurance reviews are offered at every complaint stage to ensure issues raised are fully considered, often result in more effective resolutions. Overall, 51% of complaints were upheld or partially upheld, 3% higher than in 2024. The authority remains committed to learning from instances where service delivery has not met expectations and to implement necessary changes to support continuous improvement. The Council's customer promise sets out clearly what residents are entitled to expect from our services, and we remain committed to ensuring that all service areas continue to uphold and deliver against that commitment. During this reporting period, 17 complaints were referred to the local government and social care ombudsman and 4 to the housing ombudsman. Of the 21 cases considered, the LGSCO upheld 6 complaints and the housing ombudsman upheld 3. This exceeds last year's 24% uphold rate for the same time frame. The authority responded to all required actions issued by both ombudsmen and continue to be committed to learning from all ombudsman decisions. I would like to thank everyone who has taken the time to share their experience with us. I now ask Cabinet to approve the recommendations outlined in section 1.2 of this report and to agree to the publication of the 6 monthly compliments and complaints report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Have any questions or comments in relation to this item? I would just like to say that as a council, we are always continuing to strive to improve our services to avoid complaints being necessary, but where complaints do arise, we aim to address them as soon as possible to our customer satisfaction. Sadly, when that doesn't happen and any reports do go to the Ombudsman, any actions or recommendations reported, obviously we do take on board and that informs our learning. But I just want to assure residents we do strive to deliver the best quality services across the board. Thank you. Are members happy to agree with the recommendations outlined in this report?
Great.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 10, CCTV policy. Can I invite Councillor Graham to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek Cabinet's approval on the revised and updated CCTV policy originally approved by Cabinet on the 25th of November 2024. Cabinet will be aware that the authority operates several CCTV systems, including those in and around our town centres and in some council buildings. North Tyneside is one of the safest places to live in the country, and the use of CCTV systems is a valuable tool for us. It assists with public safety, crime detection, prevention, and community reassurance. All of our CCTV system installations are carried out in line with extensive statutory requirements and associated guidance. This balances the need for public protection against the need to respect the right to privacy to individuals. One of the priorities of our North Tyneside Plan 2025 to 2029 is to create places our residents can be proud of and make sure our neighbourhoods are safe and secure for everyone. The plan emphasises our commitment to tackling and preventing all forms of antisocial behaviour, working closely with Northumbria Police and promoting zero tolerance of harm and violence. This updated CCTV policy directly supports that priority and aligns with the Safer North Tyneside Community Partnership Strategy, which sets out the framework for reducing crime and disorder across the borough. The revisions to the policy follow an internal audit recommendation relating to the piloting and trialling of new systems and emerging technologies. In particular, it strengthens our approach to the use of artificial intelligence technologies, ensuring that any pilot or trial is fully assessed and follows the processes set out in the policy. This includes completing a data protection impact assessment and ensuring that appropriate signage and privacy notices are in place as part of the trial. It is important that as an authority, we continue to prioritise public safety. The updated policy will enhance our surveillance capabilities while maintaining full compliance with data protection legislation and protecting individuals' right to privacy. I am therefore asking Cabinet to approve the recommendations within section 1.2 of the report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Do we have any comments or questions in relation to this report? No, we're happy to agree the recommendations outlined in the report. Agreed, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 11, North Tyneside Design Code Supplementary Planning Document Consultation. Can I invite Councillor Harrison to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. This report seeks Cabinet approval to carry out public consultation on the draft North Tyneside Design Code Supplementary Planning Document, commonly known as SPD. The Design Code will replace the authority's 2018 Design Quality SPD, ensuring our approach to securing high quality development aligns with updated national policy, including the National Model Design Code and National Design Guide. The code will support delivery of both the current and emerging local plan by providing clear, practical and consistent guidance for applicants, communities and decision makers. It will help us ensure that the new development contributes positively to the character, sustainability and overall quality of places across the borough. Initial engagement took place in late 2024 with residents, businesses and stakeholders. This work explored what local people value most about North Tyneside's built environment and has helped shape the draft document. Around 170 contributions were received, and the summary of this early engagement will be published alongside the consultation. The draft design code sets out high-level design principles and detailed standards for common development types, including homes, apartments, commercial development and shop fronts. It does not propose new development sites. Instead, it provides a strong basis for raising design quality and supporting efficient planning decisions. Subject to approval, consultation will begin in early March and run until mid-April, in line with our statement of community involvement. A finalised supplementary planning document will return to Cabinet for adoption later in 2026. I recommend that the Cabinet agrees with the proposed decision set out in paragraph 1.2 of this report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Are there any comments or questions in relation to this item? No, we're happy to agree the recommendations outlined in the report. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 12, which is adult social care charging proposals consultation, response and decision on implementation of changes. Can I invite Councillor Hunter to present this report?
Thank you, Mayor. This report outlines proposed changes to our adult social care charging policy, which will help to ensure that vital adult social care support can continue to be available for North Tyneside residents who live with disability and illness, which impacts on their day-to-day lives. The provision of adult social care services under the Care Act 2014 is means tested, and individuals are required to make a financial contribution towards the cost of their care. The statutory guidance states that people should not be charged more than is reasonably practicable for them to pay. The recommendations in this report follow the principles laid down in the Care Act. The proposed changes aim to ensure that anyone who has additional costs associated with their disability receives a reduction to their contribution. This will be tailored to their own circumstances, recognises the actual additional cost of their disability, rather than applying a standard amount. We're also proposing to apply the government's published minimum income guarantee, and this will bring North Tyneside in line with the majority of other North East authorities and will help to ensure adult social care services are sustainable into the future. A public consultation has demonstrated that there is a recognition of the need to maintain sufficient funding to support North Tyneside residents who cannot pay for their own care services. Both proposed changes will affect individuals unless they request consideration of their personal disability-related expenditure. So, Mayor, I commend the Cabinet to agree the proposals laid out in 1.2 of the report.
Thank you, Councillor Hunter. Do we have any comments or questions in relation to this report? No? Are we happy to agree the recommendations outlined in the report? Agreed, thank you. Moving on to item 13, our ambition. Can I invite Councillor John Harrison to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. It's becoming exhausting, isn't it? I'm pleased to bring this report before Cabinet, as it's a great opportunity to highlight the level of investment and breadth of council-led regeneration that has taken place within the borough over the past 18 months, delivering against the council's ambition for North Tyneside. The report sets out the wide range of activity that has been delivered since the last update to Cabinet in June 24, and provides an overview of work currently being delivered across North Tyneside. It would be remiss of us if we just didn't demonstrate a few highlights that's happened over that period of time. In the southwest, the authority was successful in securing 3.26 million from the North East Combined Authority Towns and High Street Innovation Programme, which is a rather long title, I would think. The funding has been used to support retail businesses, deliver 27 shopfront improvements, improve the appearance of the high street with vinyl images reflecting the town's heritage, create a mural involving community engagement and participation, demolish vacant buildings opposite Segadoonham and enhance the public realm for Segadoon to the metro station and bus interchange in Send. The expansion of Newcastle College Energy Academy will help thousands of young people gain the skills needed to find jobs in the region's fast-growing energy sector. The North East Combined Authority approved 8.48 million, and this funding will be used to construct a brand new building that will triple the number of students who can enrol each year. In the North West, following consultation on improvements to Killingworth Lake, a planning application has been submitted, and subject to approval, work is expected to start later this year. The wagonways are much valued resource for residents, and work began in September 25 to upgrade the existing wagonway that runs between the Great North Road and Wheatslade Country Park. Improvements have also been undertaken within the country community at Friars Millennium Green in Burren. In the northeast, the new seafront cycle route has been completed, further enhancing the quality of the built environment along our coast. There has also been investment in the visitor offer at St Mary's Lighthouse. In the southeast, North Shields has benefited from significant regeneration, including the opening of the embankment walkway, linking the town centre with the Fish Quay, and public realm improvements along Bedford Street and at the Metro forecourt. North Shields 800, involving many community groups and cultural organisations, was a resounding success and has proved a platform to announce recently that we will be submitting a bid for North Shields to become the town of culture. The authority allocated $2 million per year for 5 years, from 21 to 26, for ambition for North Tyneside through its budget setting process. This has enabled us to use this as much funding and attract external investment from the combined authority, government and the private sector. To date, over 65 million in match funding has been secured to deliver the activity and regeneration works set out in the Cabinet report. Officers will continue to work with public and private sector partners to identify funding opportunities over the coming months, including bids to the Heritage Lottery Fund and North East Combined Authority. This report provides an update of the progress, and Cabinet is asked to agree the recommendations as set down 1.2 of the Cabinet report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Are there any comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Graham.
It just shows that despite our financial difficulties in trying to get things off the ground, that this authority is really ambitious, and with the help of the North East Combined Authority and grants from government, our officers work really hard to put bids together to try and get schemes off the ground, and there's the evidence there, and we will go forward in the best possible way to provide the best we can for the people of our borough, because they deserve it, and good jobs to go with them, which is what this area needs. So thank you.
Anyone else got any comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Early.
I'm particularly pleased as a councillor from the North West to see the development plans for the North West, the promised work around Killingworth Lake, etc. I think will be a real boon to the area, and I think it is important that we demonstrate to residents in the North West that although a lot of the previous renovation and regeneration has been in the coastal areas, they're not forgotten about, and we do intend to do a lot of work in the area to improve the culture, the facilities for residents in the northwest of the borough.
Thank you, Councillor Early. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor John.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to add as well, thank you to officers and for the community groups for getting involved in North Shields 800. I think anybody that went along to any of the groups just sort of saw the pride that all the residents had and the groups had every single event. You know, when we had the boats going up and down the Tyne, it was absolutely baking hot, but people were incredible in watching all of it. And we had a really great event not long after at the football club as well. And I'm really pleased that we had the announcement from the government around the town of culture as well, and we're kind of able to turn all of that positive energy and make it a really incredible thing for North Shields. And fingers crossed we'll have some good news coming our way about town of culture soon as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Anyone else? I would just like to also say I think there's an incredible amount of work gone on across the whole borough. We've already achieved really significant progress in many areas, things we should be really proud of, and I know our residents are feeling increased pride in their areas, and I look forward to delivering on some of the plans and proposals outlined in this report so we could continue to build and regenerate our North Tyneside. And what a phenomenal, you know, just to see the figure there, £65 million match funding. It just shows what can be done with the right people involved, and we owe great thanks to our officers who work really hard, but also all of our partners, because often it involves partnership working to get things right. I think North Shields 800 was a great example of that, a really highly successful year for the town, and it's put that town in a fantastic position to go forward for the town of culture. And I'm delighted that North Tyneside Council will be working with the community, the businesses, the residents, community groups and organisations in North Shields around the North Shields Town of Culture application. And fingers crossed we'll win it, because we deserve it. I think North Shields deserves it. But I'm delighted there's work happening across the whole borough. Thank you, Councillor Early, for mentioning the Northwest. And it's really exciting plans in place around there as well. And lots more to do. We're not giving up. This isn't it. It's simply the next phase and the plans that are currently on the table. So a huge thank you to everybody involved in that. Are we happy to agree the recommendations in the report? Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 14, which is date and time of the next meeting. The next meeting will be held on Monday, the 16th of March at 6 p.m. Thank you.